Hello and welcome to Monday Night Live on this dreary Monday evening. But it is a great time to be inside and watching the live question and answer session with your Henry County Sheriff John Sproles and Chief Deputy Josh Smith and my brother Tom Sproles and Lucas, our media guy. I don't know what to call you, Lucas. Does that work? Videographer. So welcome. I am hoping to cover. I'm hoping to get some good questions. I am hoping for some of you people that haven't had a chance to ask your questions to be able to jump in here and get some questions, and we are going to cover everything that you want to talk about. But first, I want to cover something very important. This is breaking news. Our Chief Deputy Josh Smith, 28-year veteran, the longest serving Henry County Deputy Sheriff currently, correct?
Currently.
Here's the big news. He is a new grandpa, and he didn't just have one, they had triplet girls. And I know that's news to you as well. So triplet girls, Josh is the proud new grandpa, and I want him to, Josh, tell us about your triplet girl grandbabies. And are you proud?
I am proud, and they are beautiful, little itsy bitsy babies, like 4 pounds.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. It's I'm excited.
So you're a proud grandpa.
Yes.
Wow, 4 pounds. That is little. I lost down to 2 pounds and something when I was born, and so I've gained a lot. So I gained it all back.
Just ask your viewers.
Yeah, just ask the viewers. You can tell that I have gained quite a bit of weight since I was weighing in at 2 pounds and I don't know, 11 ounces or something like that. So Josh, congratulations.
Thank you.
And that is wonderful. And I remember when you called me and said, "Oh my goodness, my daughter and son are expecting triplet girls." So that's amazing. And so, do we have any questions yet?
Well, let me see here.
Let me say this. I've got a little note
Lots
here.
of congratulations to
Oh,
Josh.
and they're
Thank you.
well deserved. So, skip the lines and vote early. Looking at a note here. So, early voting is still open at the Henry County Justice Center. And let me just give you some times here. I'm reading these Monday through Friday, 8 to 1, and then they take a break between 1 and 2 o'clock, and they're back from 2 to 4. That's Monday through Friday this week at the Justice Center. And Saturday, they will be open May 2nd, 8 to 1 and 2 to 4 this coming Saturday. So I have heard from plenty of people that there's no lines. And so that is great. You can get in there and get your voting done early. And then there's going to be another location, Victory Church at 2915 South 14th Street here in Newcastle. They are open as well. They are open on April 30 and May 1 from 2 to 7. So it gives people time to get in there after work. And they will be open May the 2nd from 9 to 3. 9 a.m. 3. So if you haven't voted yet, you can vote early and you won't be stuck out in the rain. We never know. It could be pouring rain like this on Monday. We've been through it before. And it's better just to move right in and get your voting done. Let me say something else. If you're intimidated about not knowing who all to vote for in all the different races, you do not have to vote in every category. I'm not recommending not voting in certain categories. However, if that is something that is somewhat intimidating because you haven't researched it, you can just go in and vote for the categories that you are familiar with. So, any questions?
You may want to remind the listeners that you're the sheriff of Henry County, and not just Henry County, but Henry County, Indiana.
Yes.
And I know each time we've done this, we got questions from all over the country. We have no interest at all in answering anybody's question outside of Henry County, Indiana.
Yes, there are
There's
laws.
it does not pertain
Many,
to you
yes.
at all. And
Many laws are different in different states, and we are here to talk to Henry County, Indiana voters. So just pay attention to that. And the fake profile accounts. We're interested in answering questions for people who truly have questions that they are interested in a factual answer. I've seen a lot of comments of he's not answering the questions. Well, probably not hearing the answers that you want. So that doesn't mean we didn't answer your question. You just didn't get the answer that you wanted because we deal with facts and we talk about facts while being considerate of feelings. So,
Yeah.
anything yet?
Yeah, so here's a question from Ben Smith, and it says he lives in Muncie, but it says he's from Newcastle.
Okay.
So what is a mistake you have made since taking office, and what did you do to make sure it doesn't happen again? If the people, anybody that don't make mistakes, they're either lying or not doing anything.
Yes, correct.
So if we are taking action, you're going to make a mistake from time to time. Anything come to mind
So,
that you
so here, let me, Josh, get prepared, okay? Because Josh is my chief deputy, and he is the one that usually calls me in and says, "Hey, you need to think about this." Our personalities are very different, and he is a what's the word? A detail oriented guy. I'm more of a vision guy, and let's get it done. And he's more, let's make sure we can get it done. So, Josh, I want you to call me out on just some things that we could have done better or mistakes.
Yeah. You're a very passionate person. And sometimes
We've had some passionate conversations.
we have had some
yes.
passionate conversations, and sometimes emotion can get the best of us. So and that's not just with you; it's also me. We probably have said some things sometimes that we shouldn't say.
Well, I made an
But-
apology. Let me just.
Yeah.
I made an apology on the Boss Hog podcast or Facebook show on Thursday. I said something to Jim Nicholson in the first forum at the library that I thought that just wasn't professional, and I didn't like it. And I have told our guys, if you say something you shouldn't, you do something you shouldn't, just own it. We can deal with the after effects as long as we are willing to own it. So I made an apology because it just wasn't a professional thing to say. And so yeah, there have been times that I have that I've probably said some things a little hasty. I will say this: I have never raised my voice. One time, did I not promise that to
No.
all?
That's a true statement.
That is a true
Yeah.
statement to any employee in now 3 years and 3 months. But there are things that we have I say we. I'll just say that I have decisions that I've made that I look back and like, man, we probably should have done that differently, and we will do that differently moving forward. So I am not beyond fault. And I readily admit that. Like my brother said, if you're, the amount of decisions that we have to make would probably surprise a lot of people. It is decision after decision. And many times you get hit with things that you never could have thought of that, like, whoa, what in the world is this? So I will try to think of more specific examples, and maybe I'll be able to come back and touch on that. So.
Yeah, Bailey Tinkle asks, what are your thoughts on more flock cameras? I know Hancock County has had great success with them.
Yes, well, flock cameras are great tools. There are so many advantages to flock cameras, and I'm going to let Josh speak to this here in a minute because he has been very proactive in working on getting flock cameras. and they can be life-saving. And so there's just many examples. Let me give you let me give you an example of what a flock camera will do. You can put in, even if you don't have a plate number, you can put in a color and make of a vehicle, and it will show you all of the matching vehicles that have passed certain flock cameras. And I'll tell you, we have, how many flock cameras do we have in our county?
I believe there are, well, this just,
That we
yeah,
own,
just
if you
ours
will.
is 6.
6 of them.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So let me just a couple examples. If we have any kind of serious crime take place and we have a vehicle description, a plate number, we can get that in the flock system immediately. And we can, when it passes a flock camera, it will notify us. And so, Josh, I'll let you talk about the flock camera system and just some examples of what they do and how helpful they are.
Yeah. So with a flock account, we can actually access other agencies. So there's thousands of cameras in Indiana and throughout this whole region that we can access. So yeah, just whether it's a missing person, wanted person, I mean, it's a great tool. And the thing about going back to the question, about getting more flock cameras, that's great, but at some point you have to put the brakes on it because funding, you can't just
There is an
keep.
ongoing expense.
It
There's
is.
upfront
There's an
expense.
annual expense.
Yes.
And so with a county our size, and I don't know that we would get a whole lot more than what we got. But
I was involved personally in a traffic stop on the interstate, I-70, that a flock camera had picked up a hit on a murder suspect out of New York. And we were able to locate them and arrest them. And they had committed a murder, allegedly, and we was able to pick them up. So flock cameras are very, very helpful. I know there's some people out there that have concerns about flock cameras and invasion of privacy. I don't know how, all of this stuff is trackable. Okay, when we request information from flock, this stuff is all trackable. So if someone were to abuse that system in some manner, I can't think of a great example right now. We haven't had any that I know of, but you can track it back and know where it came from, when the request was made, and who is accessing the system. As with all of our system, all of our computers, our cars are GPSed, and everything we do is tracked, and you can hit the delete button all you want to. It's going to a master file, and it's trackable.
Yep.
So, good question on flock cameras. What else do we have?
Okay, so Jeremy Godsey has 2 questions. He asked questions last time, I think, and so, but he says, my first question is, why won't you release the federal department who did the investigation regarding the death?
Regarding the death.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm assuming.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming that he's speaking of Nick Gully.
Uh-huh.
And as I stated, and I'll state again, it's the highest federal investigative division there is, and I think that's pretty plain. And I know there's some people that said they're not buying it. Well, they don't operate on whether you buy it or not. So that is the case, and that investigation has been wrapped up. And we spoke about it the other day and gave the facts on it, and so the facts remain. And so there's your answer, Jeremy Godsey.
All right. Second question is, why do you need 19,000 in furniture when the new jail had new furniture when it was built? Couldn't that $19,000 be used elsewhere?
Okay. Well, several things about that. The jail was not fully furnished when we built it. In fact, I remember we had a designated conference room, and we had no furniture in it. Very nice conference room with no furniture. And I remember making that request for a conference table. And I remember a commissioner asking us, what are you going to do with a conference table? Well, we're going to have conferences around it. That's what they're for. And so the jail was not fully furnished. And also the jail is now what, 3 or 4 years old. There are some furniture pieces that are wearing out. And we had an enormous amount of furniture that was falling apart, even though we paid an enormous amount of money for it, and some of it was not covered in warranty. So, I've heard this. Well, why don't you use it somewhere else? We talked about gym equipment, workout equipment, buying it out of the bond, and there was talk about, well, we want a new workout room over at the courthouse. Well, sorry, that bond can only be used to build or outfit the new sheriff's office. So that is the reason that we need more furniture, is because, again, it wasn't fully furnished. And as we have been there now for 3 years, there are some different arrangements for a better, more fluid work environment. So, as you move forward, there are changes that you need to make. So that money is not allowed to be used for whatever you want to use it for. I've heard people say, "Why can't, what you need cars? You talk about cars, and now you're wanting furniture. You can't buy cars out of the bond that was specifically designated for building the sheriff's office and outfitting and upfitting the sheriff's office."
You may have answered some of this question already. Jeremiah Morrell asks, how much bond money is left for the sheriff department's building? Is the 19,000 that Courier reported on the balance of available funds? And then you've probably already answered, what would that 19K in office equipment have purchased? Yeah.
Yes. So I can't give you the exact amount on what is remaining in the bond. However, I believe it is in the $650,000 range, and you have to use that bond money within a certain amount of time. And I can't give you that. Do you know that amount of time off the top of your head? It's not way down the road.
but I do know that the council has said that, and the commissioners, that it needs to be spent
By X date,
like
whatever
now.
X date is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that bond money, there is a end time on being able to spend that. And again, yes, there's plenty of money. That 19,000 does not max out the bond money. I believe is 650-ish thousand, and that is something that you can get that total amount through a records request, or I can look it up. And Jeremiah, you can just text me, and I'll get the who is Jeremiah Moral? Who is this guy creeping on our live?
What changes, if any, will you make in the department in a second term? Marla Ritchie asks.
Good question. It was interesting on the Boss Hog show. If you want to go back and watch that, I think it'd be very informative. That question was asked to all of the candidates, and the interesting thing is when it come to what changes would you make in the structure of the department and in the operation of the department, nobody had any suggestions that need to be made. So I have said is from the very first, my primary goal is to take good care of our officers in order for them to take good care of the citizens. So that wouldn't be a change for me, but it would be a continuation that we have to take good care of our officers in order for them to take good care of the community. And that means financially, physically, mentally, and spiritually, and emotionally, and in every way. So again, that wouldn't be a change. That was a change that we made because it was not happening. And we were short-staffed. I know I've said this a lot, but it's important to know that for the first time in the history of the Henry County Sheriff's Office, our deputies are paid what is called average pay per WIS. Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy is a company that the county, not the sheriff's office, but the county, I guess it would be the commissioners who would be the head of hiring them. They have had this company work for us somewhere in the range of 26 years in providing us the data for every government official that we have, approximately 300 employees total for the county. It's somewhere in there. And about 100 of them are for the sheriff's office. And they provide the data to say this is the average that should be paid to the deputies and to these certain ranks, comparing our sheriff's office with other like entities and like communities with like tax bases. And so for the first time, we are being paid average pay. And believe it or not, that was a hard fight. Unfortunately, it was an ugly fight. And it is hard for me to believe, looking back at how hard that was to do. It's hard for me to believe that because it shouldn't be an ugly fight to pay your employees fairly. Let me say this, and I appreciate this, and I'm happy for this. The county is now paying all county employees fair pay. And I'm thankful for that. And I will say that I think that all boats rose with the tide because we push so hard we just are asking to be paid average. We're asking for our officers to be paid average. Let me make this clear. That's never affected my salary. My salary is set by the state, and I am paid the bare minimum that is allowed by the state. I get paid the bare minimum dollar. There is a wide range. The state lists a minimum to pay the sheriff and a maximum, and I don't get paid in the middle. I get paid the very minimum, and you've never heard me go to the council and ask for more pay because I cared more about our officers getting paid fairly. So that is so those changes that we made, they were difficult changes, but we got them approved, and so we'll continue to do that. We're going to continue to I would like our officers to be paid better than average because they are better than we don't hire average people. That's it's interesting to me that officers are paid the amount that they're paid, and they're risking their life every day. When you put that uniform on and go to work, if it all goes down that day, you're going to be right in the middle of it. You're driving straight towards gunfire, and we've done that plenty of times. And our officers still sacrifice a lot, even though we are getting paid the average. And I appreciate that from the council.
Angela Cox has a question and a statement. She starts by saying, the sheriff's office has an immense responsibility. Thank you for the work you do. My question is in regard to our domestic violence victims. How could your department work to improve the protection of our citizens?
Great question. These are the kind of questions that I am appreciating, and I'm going to speak to Angela Cox for just a moment because I believe that I know the Angela Cox that is asking that question, and she has been very instrumental in our JRAP program at the jail. That's the recovery program that we do for inmates, and she was the head of the Henry County Health Department for quite some time, and so I know that that's a sincere question because I know her heart for people. And so Angela, thank you for everything you've done for victims and for people in need. Josh, I'm gonna let you speak to this. This is a very serious very serious question because in law enforcement, many times you have a victim, and these crimes can range from just unbelievable traumatic situations that occur. And let me say this: we just had a JRAP graduation, and I wish all of our people could see the impact that this program has. In fact, I had one of the people who are running for prosecutor. Actually, all of the prosecutor candidates attended that graduation, and I had one of them come up to me who hadn't been there before, and he said, "Man, I was just shocked at the power and the change that that program is making, listening to these stories." But the point that I wanted to make here, many times in especially at graduation, these inmates will talk about their addiction, and it is most of the time the addiction is driven by some serious trauma that these individuals have experienced at some point, very, very typically early on in their life. And many times that trauma has came from being the victim of some horrible situation. So helping the victims, victim advocacy is so crucial and so important. And Josh, why don't you speak to that for a little bit?
Yeah. Um, you know, that is why we're here, right? Like to protect. At the end of the day, you know, this election is all about protecting and serving. You know, that's what we do, and it's so important that we're empathetic toward victims, and we do have. Here's the thing. These last 3 years, we've literally had to rebuild the sheriff's office from the foundation on up. We've put a lot of time and effort into that. And what I'm excited about in the next 4 years is not having to focus so much on the rebuild, but continue moving forward, that forward momentum. So one of the things, Angela, that we're going to be doing here very shortly is we're partnering with a company called Tip 411, and that will enable the public will be able to download an app, and that will enable people to leave totally anonymous tips to us. We can actually have conversation live if we need to. So that's a great opportunity, and we'll be able to send out alerts as well. If we're investigating a certain crime, we can send an alert out, and the public can respond to that alert and give us information that they may have. So I'm excited about that. But domestic violence, you know, that is an area that I'm really passionate about. And I just remember years ago a lady coming to the sheriff's office, and she was just broken. Like she had never called the police before to report anything, but she just broke one day, and just us being able to be there and go arrest the guy for domestic violence was very satisfying. But a lot of people live with that, and I think we could do better in our partnership with Safe at Home, and that's one thing I'd like to focus on. We've got great deputies that are very in tune to you know, people who have been victimized, and just I just want to do more in that area, put more of a focus on it.
Right. Yes. And Safe at Home, they are a great organization. Safe at Home assist victims in being able to obtain no contact orders and those type of things in an expeditious manner. You know, I said at the JRAP graduation the other day, uh, this is what I love most about being the sheriff. It is not about arresting people. It is about helping people who are less fortunate, are living in less fortunate times. Which when you're in jail, those are difficult times. And drug court. Drug court. I love being just heavily engaged in drug court with the drug court participants. The drug court participants, I give all of them my cell phone number, and I tell them, if you need me, you call. And I remember when I was in Papua New Guinea on a missions trip, answering a call 6,000 miles away here for a drug court participant who was in an urgent situation. And I love that more than anything in this job. It is just the part of helping others. And as Josh said, it has been a difficult task. You learn so much. It's easy to talk in when you're running for an office. I remember 4 years ago talking about all the tort claims against the administration, and then I learned that when you take on that title, you're the target of them. So you can talk a lot, and you'll be humbled to learn there are some things that are out of your control. And even though you talked a good talk when you're running for election, there are some realities that will humble you down. So great question, Angela, on in regard to victims. Yes.
Okay, Amy Rottinghouse has a question, has a couple here.
Okay.
John, can you explain how jurisdiction works for a county sheriff?
Okay. So jurisdiction has to do with geographical boundaries. So in Indiana, any full-time police officer who has graduated the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, they have full police powers 24/7 in the entire state of Indiana. And so we have, you can call it jurisdiction. Well, I don't know if you can call it jurisdiction. We have police powers in the entire state. So to break that down, let me just start from Newcastle. Newcastle City Police, they typically work within the city limits of Newcastle. They have the police authority to, again, carry out the law in the entire state. And there are times that Newcastle officers will come out and assist us if we have a very serious call. Not too long ago, I remember we had a very, very serious call, and I said, start me a couple in Middletown. And I said, start me a couple city units with us until we see what we have. So the state police, the way they operate, their officers usually cover 2 or 3 counties. And so sometimes they'll have a couple officers who are in Henry County, working in Henry County. They may get a call to go to Shelby County, get a major accident somewhere, and they're going to go 2 counties away. They can do that. And if we need to, we can, in a pursuit or something like that, we have full authority to run it anywhere in the state of Indiana. And in hot pursuit, you can go over into some states. Some states do not have reciprocal laws. I believe Kentucky is one. When you get over the bridge, Kentucky is you don't have authority, and they get people running across the bridge all the time. So I hope, Amy, that answered your question. And if it didn't, follow up, and hopefully my brother will see it, and we'll try to narrow that down a little bit more.
And she also asked a question that has been asked a couple times as well here by others that you want to address here. Also, I am interested in the Blue Envelope program. Any plans for this in Henry County?
Ooh, you're going to have to update me on the Blue Envelope program, because I am not. Does that ring a bell to you? If you can maybe direct me better, that term Blue Envelope is not coming to me right now. So hopefully we can cover that better when we learn more of it.
Yeah. Okay. Could the bond be used to put in dash cameras in the in
Good.
the Department of Vehicles?
Yeah, good question. It cannot. The bond money again has to go to actual brick and mortar for the sheriff's office, which can include, and we're getting ready to build a storage building. In fact, I believe the storage building was supposed to have been built before the actual jail and sheriff's office was, but that is forthcoming, and that is going to be coming out of the bond money. But no, it can only be used for bricks and mortar and furnishings for the sheriff's office and jail. But good question. Let me talk about dash cams real quick. Um, that is, we have looked at the price to purchase dash cameras. I believe we got a price back of $275,000 just simply to equip our patrol cars with dash cameras only. There are also there's very much residual cost with that. I am a proponent. I would be thrilled to have dash cameras. We obviously we used to, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, we used to have dash cameras and not body cameras. We found that it was more effective to have body cameras because it is going to be with you the entire time. I want to tell you all this: our body cameras, they kick on when you turn your lights on. So if you were to try to turn your camera off, it'll kick right back on. When your lights are on, that your red and blue lights, your body camera is on. So yes, it would be great to have dash cameras, but that expense is enormous, and then you get into something that people do not probably ever think about. All camera footage is available for FOIA requests. The general public can say, they've got to give specifics, but I want, this time to this time of this officer's body camera. They could request, a 4-hour segment of a dash camera, and it may be the car just parked there looking at a tree, and our staff has to review every minute of that camera footage to see if anything would need to be redacted, such as juveniles. There's all kind of different things that could possibly need to be redacted. So we literally spend hours upon hours every week simply simply reviewing body camera footage that has been requested for in a FOIA request. And so if you add the vehicles to it, you're going to double that in-house labor that nobody thinks about. We've talked about needing extra officers. In fact, we used to have 29 officers. We are doing things now that we didn't have that back before cameras. And so that there's a lot to think about when it comes to dash cameras. But I feel that cameras are a protection for us, and I feel like, quite frankly, I feel like it's more for us than it is for the public. It's protection for the public, but the way I view it is, I want to have my camera on because it will cut out. The camera actually only deals with facts, and that's what I like. It don't have feelings. And so the more camera footage, the better, but there is a huge cost there. So good question on that.
Follow up on the blue envelope.
Yes.
Amy Ridinghouse says it is for people with disabilities to be able to communicate better with law enforcement. If you get some time, take a look. I think it's a great idea. Sounds like a great idea.
No, that does sound like a great idea. Hey, let's face it. We have people that are hearing impaired, speech impaired, and they encounter emergency situations as well. And that sounds like an amazing thing. And I will do some research on that. That's great.
We do have we partner with a company called Language Line. So if we encounter someone who speaks, a different language, we can call in and they will interpret for us.
Mhm.
But with that, you can also do sign language.
Mhm.
So we can actually have a video, kind of like a FaceTime with the language line worker, and we can communicate that way as well.
Yeah, good. That is something though that does sound like a necessary tool. And the great thing about technology, there are new things coming down the pike that are breakthrough items in police work, and it's been our goal to stay on top of the new technology, again, such as drones. And I mean, drones are they're amazing, and we've never had them before we took office, and we've had to buy them out of commissary because they were not. The council does not want to fund them, and I'm just going to say this because it's a fact, and I'm not worried about the feelings here. They don't want to pay the insurance on the drones, so they requested that we pay the insurance on the drones from the commissary fund, which is fine because I am committed to the safety of our citizens, and if the council don't want to pay it, we'll pay it because drones save lives and they will continue to save lives. Let me just give you a quick example. We had a call before we had drones, before I was the sheriff. A lady with Alzheimer's went out of her house late one night in the cold. Her cat had got out. She went looking for a cat, did not return home. We got out there and searched the area as thoroughly as we could. We couldn't get the state police helicopter for some reason, and unfortunately, we found her the next morning dead. Had we had a drone in 10 minutes, we would have located her and brought her home safe. And so when we want to fuss about not paying the insurance on the drones, not a good move. Not a good
Yeah.
move.
And I think that wasn't necessarily the council; it was the commissioner's office. Um, and my understanding, Sheriff, is that they don't have the money this year, but I'm hopeful that that's something
Did you tell
during
me
the next budget session that they will fund.
the
hopefully.
last number that we know, and that there was 8+ million in unallotted funds?
That's yes. Now I don't know about. Yeah, the council could fund that extra to the commissioners to cover that insurance.
Correct.
I would assume. Yeah.
Well, I don't think there's any assuming on that one, but any other questions?
Uh, Amber Ford says, so am I correct to say that the body cams only work if the red and blue lights are on?
Good. Hey, good question. Good question. But it's not correct. Our officers, it's in our standard operating procedures, which, as we've said many times, are now brought up to the 2026 legal standards from 1995. They are required to turn their body cameras on if their lights are not activated. So yes, you just push the button once and the body camera comes on. It will also automatically come on with a gunshot and other type of sounds. It will kick the camera on. Let me say this: the body cameras actually record 24/7 if the battery is not dead. So in critical situations, if we need to go back, and there's a lot of language in our standard operating procedures, you can't just do it willy nilly, whatever that means. But we can go back and put a specific time in, and even if the camera was off, it will have video. It does not record audio when it's off. But we can go back at any time as long as the battery was operable, and we can pull video. So that's an important thing. Good question though.
And the lights, the body camera coming on with the lights, that was actually just a new upgrade, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
something that we installed because we wanted to. Not too long ago. It's been months ago, but I didn't like the fact that not that I didn't trust our officers, because I do, but it's just a safeguard to when you click the red and blues on, that camera's coming on with it.
For the people that are just joining, you might reiterate that we're taking questions from Henry County residents.
Okay, we are taking questions from Henry County, Indiana residents only because we don't have a lot of time. My goodness, we're 14 minutes away from hitting an hour. So we've had some great questions tonight. Keep bringing the great questions, and I don't mean to be rude to you, but if you don't live in Henry County, Indiana, um, let's let our people ask questions that pertain to them.
So Daisy May, and I don't know if I may have missed this while I was
Okay.
looking for other questions. She says 275,000 seems like a really steep quote. How many cars do you guys have?
Okay, we have 28 merit deputy cars. So those are not all patrolmen. The 28 merit deputies would include me and the chief deputy and all the way down through the patrolmen. So that is, and that's all we quoted for is the 28 merit cars. We did look at a couple of pricing options, and they were very similar. These aren't real highly competitive markets, and just like with uniforms and everything, I'm just going to say that the market takes advantage of law enforcement because they know you have to have it, and so there are many things that, and we do shop these prices, but there's many things that just aren't real competitive, just as the insurance for sheriff's offices and police agencies. There's about maybe 6 companies nationwide that cover those. So almost a monopoly in items like this.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. We've got a question. Why did you remove the sheriff's camp?
Very good question. Very good question. Because of liabilities, we used to, sheriff's camp literally used to go, I think, 5 to 6 days. Kids were staying in cabins together. It is very difficult to fully staff a sheriff's camp, and that was a difficult decision. I love engaging our youth in what we do as law enforcement officers. That was a very, very tough decision, but just due to liability and potential insurance claims, that is why we have not had that. And we are looking at a different approach to where we have a 1 day camp or something of that nature. But the all night thing was just something that concerned me greatly, and but my that one hurt the heart a little bit to make that decision. We had much discussion about it. So we are looking at ways that we can re-engage our youth. Good
Yeah.
question.
So you might just let people know, or if they're hearing me, I'm the one, I am the only one here who's
Looking at the question.
deciphering the question.
Yes. So
You guys have no idea what's being asked. You don't know anything about it. I'm the one doing it.
you can
so-
see that I'm not looking at a screen. And
So-
and I do not. I have told him you just hit me with whatever
Yeah.
comes in, and so if there's blame of me dodging questions, sorry,
Yes.
it's I'm not dodging questions. So
So, Duella Howard asked, you may not remember me, but I talked to you a while back about getting Bibles in the jail.
Mhm.
Even the people in 24-hour holding. Any news on that?
Good question, Duella. We have multiple chaplains that work in the jail, and we have Bibles readily accessible. I am hoping that whoever you talked to me about getting a Bible to has gotten a Bible. Um, this is something that we try to. We have chaplains in there regularly, and so I, whether they're in 24-hour holding or not, I don't have an issue with if they want a Bible, then I'm going to get you one. And if you want a Quran, we're going to get you a Koran too. So I've heard a lot of comments on that. We are not, we do not, you know, starve out any different types of religion. So
Um, Shane Dick, who is a big fan of yours, I know,
yes, yes,
from all of his comments,
vocally, yes.
very vocally, asks, why do you allow all deputies on duty to go eat at the same time? Who is patrolling the county when they are all 10-7 at the same time?
Hmm. Well, our deputies have to eat. You all know that, and so there is. I believe in team effort, and as you well know, I think you spent 1 year as a police officer. That there is something to say for you know, building team and camaraderie. So you know, we hear about patrol. Um, we're actually, we respond to emergencies, and patrol is good. We need patrol. But you know, picking on officers eating together at the same time is pretty small, Shane. So I don't know what else to say to you, Shane.
Yeah.
But that's you know, I doubt when you were a police officer in your short stint there. I guess it was within your probationary year. I doubt you ate separate yourself. So
Do the 1 day camp once Angela Moore, it looks like has a suggestion.
okay.
Do 1 day camp once a month through the summer months. So
Good. So that's a good suggestion. We're going to work on that. We're going to work on that. We've got to reengage the kids, and so um, I have a heart for the kids, and so good suggestion, Angela. It is something, Josh. You can correct me publicly if I'm wrong. We've had much discussion about this
Oh,
because
yeah.
that was a hard decision to make. So we are going to work on doing something for the kids. We would have Lifeline helicopter come out. I believe the last time um, we weren't, we weren't even able to get them. And so some, you know, other agencies are tightening up on their restrictions with some of this type of stuff as well. But good thought on the day, 1 day camps through the summer.
yeah, Brittany Brown asks this. First of all, she says, thank you for your transparency. I haven't seen other candidates go live like this. What is something that you want everyone to know that hasn't been asked yet?
Good question, Brittany. Um, you know, I want everybody to know this. I alluded to it earlier. Um, it's easy to talk, and you know, it's easy to say, "Oh, we want to do this and we want to do that." We saw that for a lot of years at the sheriff's office, and you would get talk, and you would get. Well, let me just go back to the standard operating procedures. We always heard we're going to update our operating procedures. It never got done. We were operating off of 1995 standard operating procedures, which you live and die by legally. We learned how to use a speed loader for your revolver. When I was reading the standard operating procedures as a new officer about just about little over 7 years ago, we were still reading about using speed loaders for your revolver. That's and so, but it was always talked about. We're going to get these policies up to date. We're going to get a brass structure in place. We're going to put a lieutenant position in place. Have you heard that over and over and over?
Yes.
Never got done. You know why? Because it's easy to talk and it's harder to walk the walk. And I will say this: we have walked the walk, and we have gotten many things done. And let me. We had that horrible incident at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, where that gunman rushed in and our president was talking after the fact. And I don't agree with everything he says, but this I do agree with. He said it is the people that get things done that are targeted. And we have been targeted from day one. Day one. When you pull face, and we have dealt with it from day one. I'm a different person. I am not a get together with all of the other county leaders in a back room and do backroom deals. I'm going to talk straight to the voters. That's who I answer to, is the voters. And I'm going to tell you this. After the very first commissioner meeting, so I got up and gave a report of the condition. The report was terrible. We owed $250,000 or more. We don't have records of all kinds of things. We're short-staffed. It was a terrible, and I had a commissioner, I'll never forget this. She is no longer a commissioner, but here's exactly what she said after that first meeting. Came right up to me and said, "Don't you ever," and pointed her finger at me, "don't you ever get up here and just say whatever you want to say. That makes us look stupid." It's the exact words. And just go with the status quo. And I said this when I campaigned last, and it's true that you when everybody's got dirt on everybody, nobody can get anything done, because, well, if you bring that up, I'll tell you what I'm going to bring up. And that's the way we've operated for years. And so it's been difficult with all of the hate, but you know what? I care enough about our people to deal with that hate. And I'm going to talk facts to our citizens, because they deserve that. They don't deserve backroom deals. I am not, I try to be nice to everybody. I try to deal with data-driven information, and I try to stay away from personal feelings. And I want to talk business. I want to take care of business. And so that doesn't fit well with everybody. We do have other county leaders who are that way, that they can have hard conversations and they can leave the personal feelings aside. We've got some good ones. And man, we've had some tough conversations, but I know that their job is different than mine. I'm going to advocate for the sheriff's office. They're going to advocate for all of the county, and I get it, and I respect that. And they are able to leave the feelings aside and just deal with business and come up with data-driven information. So, yeah, I hope I answered that question. So, okay, anything else? Or we're at 1 hour.
Yep.
Is there any pending good question? I don't want to leave a sincere question.
Yeah, I don't see any at this time. And if I did, uh, people can't imagine how hard it is I have to refresh this thing every little bit to try not to miss a question. And because it doesn't pop up on my end as
Okay.
they come in, it's not real fluid. I'm having to refresh and find questions. So it's quite possible I didn't get every question. And I certainly know I didn't get questions from all the haters that live in California and Delaware and
It'll-
wherever else they're.
It'll be in my
yeah.
email.
But you'll
Yes.
you'll keep getting that continually on Facebook.
Yes,
and stuff.
I've got death threats from Australia and other places. Well, let me say this: it has been wonderful to just have these live sessions and answer questions. And I am here to. I work for the voter, and it is my goal to serve and protect. And it is my goal to deal with facts. And again, while being respectful to feelings, but we're going to deal with facts. And it's been an honor to be your sheriff. And I don't take that lightly. And I would appreciate your vote to have one more term. To again, as Josh said, to be able to really spend some time focusing on all of these other things. There's so many things that we need to continue to do and do better. And we are caught up. We have accomplished the goals that we set out to do in our first term. And so I would respectfully ask for your vote. And again, try to get out and vote early. And if you don't, just make sure you're out there on Tuesday, May the 5th. Every vote counts. And the primary is important here. And so get out and vote, let your voice be heard. And we will try to do this again, not before the election, but this may be something that we could do every quarter or something like that in the future moving forward as the sheriff. So we'll look at being able to facilitate what we can there. So thank you, everybody. Get out and vote. And if you got a question, get a hold of me. Send me an email. You can Google I'll tell you, it's jsproles@henrycounty.in.gov. Send me an email. I do read my emails. And if you want to talk to me, I will make it a point to connect with you. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great evening, and I hope to see you out. If not before, I hope to see you on May the 5th between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Thanks, everybody.